There have been so many great gaming mice releasing lately, from the new Logitech Dex, the Maya X, the Razer Viper V3 Pro, just so many great mice. But this one here today, the ROG Harpe Ace Extreme carbon fiber mouse, my gosh, am I so glad I finally can share this with you, just so I don't have to keep taking it off my desk anytime I'm covering any other product due to embargo limitations. Because this mouse, I just can't stop using it. But of course, I want to answer that question for you all as well. Is this the mouse for you? So you all know I'm going to take you on that deep dive as far as measurements, heat signatures, weight, everything about this mouse. I'm going to hopefully answer all those questions for you. But first, let me go and show you what you get in your incredibly massive box. Like, this thing is gigantic, but let me show you the back of it right here real quick. You can see some of the specs for yourself. Just looking over it, bam, right there. So let's go on and open this up and look at this thing. It's like a dang origami box. Like, let's get that thing out of here. So now let me tell you what, when I open this, because again, it's like this nice display piece, I'm sitting here like tearing at it, like, why can't I get this darn thing open? Well, again, we got some more origami here. It actually pops open like this. So don't be like me. You can see right here is where I actually ripped it. I'm over here pulling like, why can't I get this darn thing open? So again, it pops open like this. You got your little case in here, pop this open, and down yonder, you're actually gonna have some accessories. But check this out, inside there, it's actually padded as well. Anyways, that's just the box, but wow, what a stinking box, huh? Now inside of this, let's see what we have in here. A lot of goodies inside here. So you got grips, which I already have on the mouse right now. You get some extra glass skates, some PTFE feet, and these are what actually comes on it. Let me get the mouse, because you get this as well. You can see I put the big skates on there. These little ones came on there out of the box. You get your paperwork, a quick start guide here. You get some cleaning wipes, and then a cleaning little cloth, and then some stickers. Now I want to touch on this included case here real quick, as some people may be thinking, oh, hey, it's just gimmicky. But when you're buying a product of this caliber and price, as we're going to be talking about later, I think an accessory like this is real nice, as this case is hard, as you can see. Unzipping it, and as I showed you before, you can store everything inside it, and it's all secured by this padding in there. So really nice. Again, a premium product like this coming with a premium accessory, I don't think we should look at this as fluffy. I think this is a really nice addition here, and pretty darn awesome accessory to come with your mouse. So let's go on and dive into the mouse, and I want to start with the dimensions of it. And what you're looking on the screen right now are the dimensions of my hand, just so you can see the reference when I'm talking about if I say it's big or small or how I grip it, just so you got a good reference point and you can kind of refer back to your hand shape to mine and kind of calculate from there. So using the caliper here, I want to give you the raw measurements, not just the on-screen measurements that the manufacturer gives you. And you can see the length right there. Now, as far as the grip, I do have the little grips on it, but they're very small, so that's really not going to impact us much right here as far as our grip width. You can see that dimension. On the back, it does flare out a little bit here. Nothing dramatic by any means, but it does flare. You might be able to see it a little bit more like this. Again, it's so mild flaring out there. As far as that hump right here in the middle from sensor to buttons, right there, where it starts dropping off, I would say is right here on the back of the skate. So from there to the top is where it starts dropping off there. And you can see that measurement up front where the buttons come out. Not too high, pretty nice distance right there. You can see that. And then as far as the scroll wheel, which we'll talk more about in the buttons, but you can see how low recessed that scroll wheel is. Now, of course, numbers are just numbers, and I think this test, our thermal test, gives us a more accurate description, a more accurate view of what this mouse really is. And of course, this will depend on your hand shape, your grip points and whatnot. But I'm going to take the mouse and grip how I usually grip it. And it's kind of weird because I grip it in two different ways. So I'm going to show you how I'm using it first if I'm kind of just dancing around, which it is a little bit of a thinner mouse than I usually use. I usually use wider, something a little bit more ergo, right? Even the Viper V3 is a little bit wider than this, but just stick with me here through this heat signature, right? So anyways, I'm using it like this, pretty much like a fingertip. If I'm gonna get around and really dance with it, it can really do that. So putting this right here, and again, sorry about having to use the iPad. I have a fix coming for this, but my iPhone upgrade is now USB-C, so I gotta get something else there. Anyways, looking at the mouse underneath here, you can see it's all up on the front fingers and then over on that side right there. Oh, we're getting some freeze. You can see it on that side, a little bit over on that side, and then just up on the fingers, because again, I am just fingertipping this. But what I caught myself doing, like when I was playing First Descendants, that's pretty much how I gripped it. Now, when I got into like Wayfinder, I honestly pulled it in the back of my hand because it's not as fast. I'm just kind of you know, dilly-dallying around the town and just playing around, right? So I actually pulled it into the back of my hand, kind of like I do with an ergo mouse. And you can see it's all the way in the back of my palm there. My side is still the same. My pinky's back here and this is up there. My thumb is right over here by the buttons. And then I kind of have that clawish up front. So it's almost like that claw palmish, right? And it really worked out because it's very comfortable, which I can still even pull it like this and rest my entire hand on it, which I do sometimes as well. Again, it's just such a universal, flexible shape, you know, and I think that comes with the length. But anyways, let me stop talking and show you this grip underneath the heat signature here. And when we look at that, just look at that. You're seeing it flow from my fingers and all of that in the back of the palm back there. On the side, pretty much the same on the side over there. Now I do got the grips on the side, hence the reason it's not picking up so much. But you can see over there. But the main point is look at all that in the back of the palm that you can do with this. And you're still seeing a very nice natural flow going from that back of that palm up to the finger, whether you want to rest it up here or you want it in the back of the palm and you can claw it. And then again, you can fingertip it. It just does all the grips and it does them very well. Now sticking on the topic of shape here, if we want to talk comparisons of this mouse, it's kind of hard to find one because you would think maybe Razer Viper V3, which is clear as day wider, just in the hand, one to the other, you definitely feel it. In the hump on the Razer is definitely more in the middle. When you look over here on the ROG, you can see it definitely comes and kind of drops off a little bit more towards the back. Let me hold them side by side and you can definitely see what I'm talking about. So up here, bam, drops off gradually. This one is up here and it definitely drops off more towards the back. So you're thinking G Pro maybe. So you got like that plump vibe over here on this guy. And then you look at the G Pro, you got that plump bit as well. And that's kind of where it becomes similar as far as the width, like one to the other. Like the width is almost spot on to a T right there from the G Pro to this new ROG one. The difference being is, again, that length. If you look at the ROG, it's definitely a bit longer here than the G Pro. And that's where that palm, as I just showed you, and that heat signature really comes into play, because you can really pull it back. That length makes the smaller size of this, you know, very versatile. And that's why I can really use this and I got down with it, because I got that flickability of the G Pro, but I also have, again, that ability to pull it back into my palm and make it versatile for whatever grip, game, or style, whether it be fast-paced, slow-paced story, I could do it all with this. And as far as comparisons, no, it's not like the Razer. I would say, if anything, it's like the G Pro, but that hump is, again, pulled out a little bit more towards the back and drops out further towards the back. So I really hope that talk about shape, show you the comparisons, the heat signature, the measurements, all that, we're really able to solidify what this mouse really is for you, because you can look at it and it looks pretty simple as far as the shape, but no, it's not. And it's, you know, not a copy of any other shape. It's really, again, I want to plant that in there, that it's very versatile, again, for multiple game styles, multiple gameplay, fast or slow, you know, story or FPS. You can really get down with this a lot. It's just, again, it's very universal shape. I absolutely love it. And that's odd coming from me, because it is a bit of a smaller mouse that I would like as far as thinness. The length I absolutely love. So again, it's unique. Now let's go and take a look at the weight of this. And again, I do have the bigger feet on the bottom and I do have the grips just on the side. Little small grips right there. So you really shouldn't defer much. Putting this on the scale, we are getting 48.8 grams. Let's go on and compare it up to some. So we got that new Logitech Dex over here coming at 58.8, Maya X coming in at 47.8. And let's get that Razer Viper V3 Pro coming in at 54.9. Now let's take a look at the build. And we're gonna, of course, do it with the force gauge meter. So I'm not just saying I'm gripping it tighter here, there, whatever. We'll see how many pounds before it starts flexing. And as you're seeing, yes, it does have a carbon fiber shell right up here to the buttons, but underneath these grips, let me peel one back. Hopefully I don't ruin them, because I want to continue using this. But you see underneath them, it is just regular plastic. Same down on the bottom. The carbon fiber kind of goes here, shoots up around the buttons, right up around there, and then towards the back. So not 100% carbon fiber, it's just really that core bit. So, and you're going to see where that's showing here. So when we look at the back, say if I press down on this carbon fiber, like I'm not getting anything, like not at all, 15 pounds, nothing whatsoever, not on the back bit, not on that back edge back there. I mean, I can press the heck out of this, it's not going to budge. But when I come over here to that plastic side, if I press in, probably right there at that 9 pound, maybe 8 pounds to 9 pounds. I'm getting that side flex there. And then same on this side over by the buttons. If I press in, I can see that flex starting again right around that 9 pounds. Now again, none of us are going to really be gripping our mouse at 9 pounds. Why I do the stress test here is over time. Us as reviewers, we're not using our products as long as, you know, someone that's buying it. We're testing out multiple products. So I want to see where is that weak point, and over time, how will that stand up and how will that fare? I will tell you what, as far as me being a firmer gripper here, I never noticed any flex or any button actuation whenever I was in game. You don't notice that mild flex at all in game. It's very solid. It's just weird. I kind of wish they would have made the entire thing carbon fiber. I think that would have been really cool. I don't know. Maybe that's, you know, some sort of manufacturing issue there, but it's very solid. But yes, on a plastic side, you do have a little bit of flex. Now, as far as the coating of this mouse, it does feel pretty much just like a standard plastic. You know, it's carbon fiber here, but it's no different. If anything, like you're used to like a Pulsar plastic mouse, that's what it feels like. You don't have that grippy texture like with the white mice, the Razer Viper or the Lamzu. You don't have any of that by any means. It just feels pretty much like a standard plastic mouse. Now, underneath the grips, as you see, I have the grips on, which I just about never use grips, but here I had to. I don't want to stretch them out, but right down here, it is just that standard plastic and you got these lines in there. I didn't like that. That felt a little bit slick, and then again, as far as those lines were just annoying. So I put these nice little grips over it that they have, and they're cut out right to it, and it's just perfect because they're not too big. You can still feel your buttons and everything. They also include those grips for 1 and 2 up there, and again, for me, it was a necessity. Like, I had to use these grips on this mouse. Now, as far as the feet on this mouse, very nice. They are pretty big. I don't know if you can see it in the angle right there. They definitely come out of the frame a little bit, so they're not like that Logitech one that was just flat solid right there. You got the middle one as well. I did, again, put the bigger ones on, as it comes with these 2 small ones. I believe they were up front. They got the small ones up front and then the big one in the back, if I remember correctly. Or you can go with just all of the small ones. As you see, you got some extras. I like that big Zowie S type feel. And you also, again, get those glass skates over here, which I'm not a glass skate fan. It's not what I use, but you do have them right here. Nice big thick, heavy duty, and got a cool little graphic on them. But as far as the skates right here, these are my preferred. I use the Pulsar Para Control pad. It's kind of a medium surface, and even if I press harder, it doesn't sink into it. And then also with me using the new Ponage Pyramid Glass Pad, I believe it's called. Gosh, this one is so nice. It's just like butter smooth. This will be coming in a future video. But again, using it on that as well, it just, gosh, it just glides butter smooth. You don't have any of that frame drag or anything like we've seen on some other mice on a cloth pad or, again, a glass pad. Just butter smooth across all surfaces. Now let's go ahead and take a look over and listen to the switches here, which are using the ROG micro optical switches here on this mouse, and they are very snappy. You can just press it down like instantly. It's right down to it. Now you do have a little bit of play afterwards, that little bit of bottom bounce, so clip, and then you got that little bit of play there. But in game, you never notice it because, again, once you press it down, you hit that switch instantly. So really nice and snappy there. As far as movement, just about none left and right. Like you can see that, like there is none, and I'm leaning into this bad boy. Again, as far as the scroll wheel, as I showed you, super recessed in there, which I absolutely love my scroll wheel. So if I'm gaming, bam, I can just roll on top of it. I don't actually got to lift my finger up. Absolutely love it, but I will tell you, it's actually brought up quite a bit up here. So let's go ahead and look at the new decks that we saw. The scroll wheel's pushed down a little bit more, so it's more towards, again, right at that little knuckle up there, right towards the front of your finger. When you look at the ASUS, if you're gripping it this way, it's right above that right there. So kind of interesting. That's going to really depend on how you're gripping it, but again, it is scooched up quite a bit and it is recessed down. Now, the side buttons. This is probably the one thing I do not like about this mouse is these side buttons are tiny. They are a little bit dinky. As far as tactility, very crisp. They've got a little bit of play. If you press them in here, they can go in a little bit there, but nothing bad. Again, you never notice that while using it. The biggest thing I notice, again, with my grip is if I'm holding it like this, I'm really towards the back one. I can get the front one, but my big old chunky thumb will accidentally press that back one as well. So I wish these buttons were number one, just bigger, right? And there's a bigger gap in it. So I wish this button was like kind of back here and that one up there. It would have been a whole lot better. Kind of, again, like you see over here with Lamzu. I wish it was something like this and it would have been perfect. These are just too tiny and too far forward. Oh, and as far as the scroll wheel, something I forgot to mention is it is a little bit firmer. Like you feel that tension in there, so you're not going to have any accidental swipes or anything on this. Comparing it up to like the Lamzu Maya X, which is also a little bit firmer, this is even firmer than that. I kind of get Zowie vibes right here. Obviously not with the sound, but as far as just the feel of it, it is a bit of a firmer scroll wheel. So if you use a lot weapon switches and whatnot, this is going to be pretty good for you because, again, you're not going to get any accidental multiple swipes and get to the wrong weapon. Now let's go and take a look at the software and talk about performance. And when I go into Armory Crate, it's not showing up for me, which I believe it's supposed to. I'm not sure if it's going to update eventually, but again, you can see I'm not showing it here, just the Omni receiver where I can pair it up to other devices. This is kind of a pro actually, but you can go over here to the ASUS Extreme, which is Armory Crate. I forget what this software is called, but it's a Armory Crate Gear. That's what it's called. I really like this because it's simplified. It's just dumbed down from regular Crate, but we're loading up here. Let's go and let it load. And you can see it's just your basic core for that device, not Armory Crate where you got all sorts of other shenanigans in there. I really like this right here. So you got your basic core mouse where you can adjust your buttons and whatnot. Your performance over here, your DPI, which you can add other increments if you want. As far as increments, it is 50 increments of 50 right here. Let me get back to right where I was. Well, we're at 1250. You got your polling rate, which it does go up to 8,000 wireless and wired. I leave mine at 4,000 just to keep my system running smooth. I see no need for 8,000. And I'll tell you what, running 4,000, testing wireless keyboards, headsets, so on and so forth, absolutely butter smooth. No hiccups, delays, or anything. Over here, the angle snap, and this is pretty cool because a lot of these settings, a lot of us can look past, right? But take a look at this here. You're probably gonna see this on my screen. So I'm gonna turn angle snapping off, and I'm just going left and right, standard left and right with my mouse. And look at that slight incline up. I'm not angling my mouse up. I'm trying to keep it as straight as I can. And you see I'm all over the place, right? Now take a look at this angle snapping. I'm gonna turn it on, and look at that. Holy smokes, it just made it pinpointed across. So really nice and noticeable feature here. It actually works. And you can see it for yourself right there. Angle tuning, never really used that right there. Let me go and set this back to my 1200 before I forget, and I'm feeling all weird in the mouse. Anyways, coming over here to lighting. This is just your scroll wheel. You got a couple effects, your brightness. I left mine off. Again, that scroll wheel is so recessed in there, just save the battery. I'm all about just leaving it off on this one, right? Save you some battery juice. Calibration, as far as your surface, never really use this, but you can do your lift-off distance as well. Over here, from low to high, it's actually not letting you go into medium, but I just left mine at low, and it's a very nice lift-off distance. I got my finger lifted up right now, and it's not even budging, so really nice. Of course, manual calibration as well. You got your power, as far as battery, and then power saving whenever you want right there, and then your firmware update. Now, right in line with the software, just about everything can be adjusted right on the mouse here with multiple presses of the buttons, as we see with many mice these days where you got the onboard settings right there. The only thing I see is you can't change the RGB on the wheel, but everything else as far as your polling rate, DPI, and all that stuff can be adjusted right on the mouse, which is a pretty nice touch. But again, as far as raw in-game performance, it was absolutely spotless. Again, testing wireless keyboards, headsets, so on and so forth. No hiccups, delays, or whatever. I'm running at 4,000 polling rate as well, and it was just flawless. Now, I don't play competitive FPS right now, as you guys know. Hopefully the new Call of Duty will get me back into some FPS, but right now it's First Ascendance and Wayfinder, and it was just really, again, versatile and performed great on top of that versatility as far as whichever grip you had it, and you never felt like it slowed down, you got delays or hiccups or anything. It was truly just pinpointed, smooth, and just accurate. Again, and it was really nice to get that versatility from the shape, being able to grip it multiple ways and still have that performance going right in line with it. It just really aligned together across gameplay. Now, as you have probably compiled all this together, and you've probably seen out there already as well, that this mouse is not cheap. It comes in at $250, but stick with me. Let's talk about this, right? Is it worth $250? If you stuck through this video, I mean, you can kind of sum it up like, yeah, it is. Everything it's packing and featuring is a solid mouse, and it's gonna stay on my desk going in line here, as I might need a bigger desk here shortly for all the mice I'm keeping out here. But it is one that I want to keep using. It is just that good. The carbon fiber is probably what's making this cost a whole lot. And I would say the one thing I wish is it was all carbon fiber so I wouldn't have that flex on the side. I don't want that in a $250 product. But again, you don't notice it when using, so can we just push that aside? That's for you to decide, right? What ASUS even stated this is class, and it's like a specialty type of mouse, kind of like the Razer, the Viper, whatchamacallit, the Mini Signature Edition, the Magnesium. Is the side? No, the side of this is actually, okay, yeah, it is. It is fully magnesium right there. And you can think, oh, well, hey, this comes in a cooler case and everything, but I really think the travel case is a pretty nice touch. But you're talking around the same price here and everything, right? The difference, I would say, with this compared to, say, something like that, or even over here with the, Final Mouse, which this is actually cheap. It's kind of crazy to say a Final Mouse is cheaper than a big production mouse. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy to say. I don't like holes, right? Seeing this, that's a sole solid shell here, and it's actually a bigger mouse. It's not super tiny like the Razer one or over there with the Final mouse. Seeing a bigger mouse being this solid is really nice to see. And again, I love the features and functions packed into it. The only thing I could complain about again is those buttons being smaller, which could be personal preference, but I wish the entire thing was carbon fiber. But all in all, is it worth 250 bucks? You gotta be maybe a hobbyist or something like that where you like trying and collecting different mice, because I think there are other mice out there that you can get for cheaper than this, packing a lot of the same specs, but this is a unique product, and that's what really separates it. I think it would have been cool maybe if they were numbered. That would kind of separate them, right? Like, I got 1 out of 1,000 or whatever me. That would be pretty cool. But as of right now, I can just tell you straight up, yes, it is a good mouse. You're the only one that can justify, is it worth 250 bucks?